what can I say? There are great many uh, great speakers in our fellowship these days, and a lot of them are aging out, and there's new ones coming in every day. And there are very few of the new speakers that can speak as well extemporaneously as this evening's guest. I am in awe of how well Terry can do this. So it is with great honor that I introduce you, I give you over to our friend Terry for the month. Terry, take it away.
Thank you, Howard. Can you guys hear me? Mic check, one, two. We
Yep,
good? We good?
good.
I appreciate the kind words, Howard. This is not me, man. This is God working in and through me, dude. Um, I'm just an instrument of God. I'm just getting played all the time. All right. Uh, I've been tasked to read page 55, paragraph 4. Let's go to our books. Where we at? Okay, we could only clear the ground a bit. If our testimony helps sweep away prejudice, enables you to think honestly, encourages you to search diligently within yourself, and if you wish, you could join us on the broad highway. With this attitude, you cannot fail. The consciousness of your belief is sure to come to you. My name is Terry. I'm an alcoholic. Honor and privilege to be here. I just got here in the nick of time. We were driving back from Mystic. My GPS said 5 p.m. on the dot. I was like, uh-oh. I appreciate the flexibility. And I have a sobriety date. Sobriety date's June 1st, 2019. I have a sponsor. I also sponsor other men. Yeah, this paragraph in this chapter uh, not only has helped so many people, but it's helped me, especially in my recovery. If someone could mute, that'd be great. Oh, cool. I guess the chapters, all the words that are leading us up to this paragraph, which is a pivotal paragraph in the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, and they talk about, what is God? Why should we find God? Where is God? When do we find God? How do we find God? I mean, they literally say three of them in the paragraph right before that. They say God is deep down with every man, woman, and child. If you guys are looking everywhere but inside, that's what I did. Until I had someone who I actually resented. You ever get a couple people in your life in earlier sobriety who you resent, and then someday they just say something that that changes your life. I remember this guy was talking about God is within you on page 55, and I've read it maybe at that point in my sobriety 3 or 4 times. But in that moment, I listened to him carefully. With a resentment, you remember what they say, right? And I'm listening to this guy trying to dissect what he's going to say so I could share at him to make him look terrible. But instead, I listened to him. My heart was open, and boom, I had a revelatory experience. Where's the best place to hide from an alcoholic is inside an alcoholic's heart. We're not going to look in there. I mean, look, I think Michelangelo was talking about that with when they asked him how'd you sculpt a Pieta, and they're like, I just saw an angel in there, I just chipped away at everything that wasn't the angel. And I mean, look at the word enthusiasm. Enthusiasm, a Greek word, en means within, and theos means God. So it literally means God within. That's probably the greatest compliment that I could give to someone is that you're an enthusiastic individual, like Howard, Paul, Rob. I mean, I'm using my iPhone, so I gotta scroll down. Andy, an enthusiastic cat, man. John Fraser, another guy, enthusiastic. These all people who are conduits and exerting this power in and through them to other people. I see it. I see it. And thank you for telling your testimonies and your stories. It shook me and it changed my life. I talk about my kid. He's 2, 3 years old. He's not thinking about money, property, prestige. He's a constant connection with the power greater than himself. Where is God? He's deep down within you. It also says how to find God in that previous paragraph. It said sometimes we had to search fearlessly. Sounds like my fourth step, right? Sounds like it's got some words in the fourth step, right? I mean, why, man, oh man. I mean, for people who are, I don't care how much time you have. I mean, I know people who had 10 plus years that never written inventory. I thought that just going to meetings was the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. And then I have people that have taken through the steps multiple times who always get to the fourth step and say, bye bye, why on earth are you going to be afraid of something that is that could change your life forever, you know? And all this stuff is setting us up to find this power, to make us seekers. That's what this paragraph I just read prior to that. And it says when we find God too on this paragraph, where's it at? In the last analysis, it is only there that God may be found. So you know, wherever I'm looking, it's not going to be in the place that I suspect. It's all the options that I'm cutting out. And one of those options that I haven't tried is probably writing inventory. Man, I went out to Minnesota on a one-way ticket out there, and everybody in this rehab that I went to was designed that you go through steps 1 through 9, and you're making amends when you leave. You know, I took a one-way ticket out there, said I'm never gonna drink ever again. I'll do whatever it takes for victory over alcohol. I'll run you over with a Mack truck in order for to find the spiritual experience. And who balked on step 4? Me. I got a friend that says, I work the steps at the pace of pain. I love that. I work the steps at the pace of pain. That's how I work the steps. But this notion that God is within me and it could burst out of me never really took shape until I started writing inventory. With this attitude, this old belief systems and old ideas that we agnostics sets us up for. You know, I more and more of the time I read we agnostics, I don't think it's for the non-believer. I truly believe it's for the believer. And why is that? Is because they're not asking us to believe. They're making us look at our agnostic temperament, our agnosticism. They're showing us how we've always been worshipers. We worship the God of reason. I worship my mind. I worship my thinking. I thought, who was that philosopher said, I think, therefore I am. Who was that? Henry D. Thoreau, I think that was like my motto. You know, when I was in high school, I was a philosophy kind of guy, right? You know, I was a thinker when I was a young guy, you know. I had emotions and ideas and belief systems that that's who I thought I was, but that was who I was not. And I developed this attitude of holier than thou as well. Who's ever done that? I have. I think, look at this. If our testimony helps sweep away prejudice, so they're talking about their stories and it helps sweep away prejudice. We're storytellers here. Keep telling your stories. Oh, thank you, Descartes, right? Yeah, I think therefore I am, right? Yeah, I ate that line up, dude. I thought on my mind. I'm reading The Power of Now, and it says, you are not your mind, right? You know, the thinker, and that's in my head, you know, I think, therefore I am. That minion, that story, that narrative in my head, that's me listening to a story that's in my head, and I go play God because of it, and I find out that playing God doesn't work. But this prejudice, I really want to talk about this sword of prejudice. They give us testimonies and stories to kind of chip away at it, right? And I lived a life of judgment. I lived a life of fixed ideas and fixed opinions about you. I mean, shit, oh, sorry for my language. My most recent prejudice I could talk about. I mean, I could talk about the old stuff. Let's talk about the new stuff, the new and exciting, edgy stuff that's going on right now, right? Yeah. This prejudice that I had was about this twofold, threefold thing going on, right? And I had an opinion, I had a fixed idea about what it particularly was, right? Then I realized that both were right and both were wrong. And both were right is because look in the big book on 64. It says, you know, when the spiritual malady is overcome, I straighten out physically and mentally. Now, not only have I been mentally and physically ill, I've also been spiritually sick. It says it right in our big book. It says talks about three parts of it. I don't even look at the word fold. It doesn't even look. I think it says the word fold once in the big book. I don't know. Look at page 164 and more. You could find out exactly where the word fold is. But then look at the other part, the two-part side. This is where I had prejudice towards them. Right? But then someone lit me up and said, "Yo, spirit doesn't get sick," and I'm like, "That's true. If God's within me, it will burst out of me." And I believe it's not a sickness. I believe it's a separation, right? But here's where both are wrong, which I never really considered, that we were both judging each other. I was judging them and they were judging me, and there was a wall that's built up against us. And thank God for people who cleared the ground a bit with their testimony and their stories to have me keep an open mind. Because if I have prejudice and preconceived notions about you, I'm blocked off from this power that's inside. It's inside of me, and I could feel it. You could feel it too. I mean, look, when you're disconnected from this power, what do you feel? Terror, bewilderment, frustration, despair, having issues with your family, your friends, and can't make a living, not happy, going to bed depressed. I'm being pounced on by misery and depression. I could keep going on and on. But this prejudice, this idea that they're asking us about, this notion or this fundamental idea of God, and they're asking us to lay it aside in the beginning. And I was given a lay aside prayer, from my previous sponsor, who was sponsored by Mark Houston and Don Pritzky. Long story short, Don P talked to Joe Hawk about it. Be like, "Yo, look, you a dangerous cat, bro." He told that to Joe. He's like, "You're a dangerous dude because you have information." And I'm a dangerous dude as well. I got information about Alcoholics Anonymous. I know 1930s definition of hope. Means expect something good to happen. Or the 1930s definition of understand means to experience, learn through experience. Who does that? I was learning all these things in Alcoholics Anonymous to try and sound cool, look cool. Or I was telling you I was trying to carry a good message, but then in a nutshell, there was a motive. There was a selfish motive. That's why I don't have any notes in my big book. I just threw away my big book that had all the cool notes, Howard. You know how difficult it was? I was at the trash bin like, no, there's so many cool things that are in it. I know it. I live the words that are in this book. I don't need to know all these definitions. It's just part of who I am. I get refreshed on a daily basis, my spiritual knowledge of this stuff. Repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse. Talking the book out loud to another individual, big book studies. It's all information that just becomes automatic. It's a muscle. It's what you practice grows stronger, stronger. I don't know. How long do I got, Howard? I'm sorry. I didn't even finish I got to get to the next sentence.
You got 20 minutes. You got another 13, 14 minutes. Don't worry about it.
Okay, until 40. Okay. So they're not telling us to lay aside prejudice now. They're telling us that we hope that it helps sweep away. Like, bye-bye. Imagine not being, the whole point of this program is to become undisturbed. And if you have any disturbance in your life, it's because you have an old idea, you have an old emotion, or you have an old belief system that's rooted in you that you have not fully given to God, or you haven't absolutely let it go. That's been my experience. And it says enables you to think honestly. Oh, that's another good one. I came into Alcoholics Anonymous, a person of life who lived a rigorous life of dishonesty, right? I lived a double life. I didn't want you to know who I was. I wore a mask wherever I went. Why? Because I was a scared little boy inside. I always had this notion, this feeling that you were thinking about me, or you're going to judge me, or I want you to like me. It's BS. I'm a child of God. It doesn't matter. That is something that I had to not only work through with the 4-step, and it's something that I had to absolutely give to God in 6 and 7, because I don't have the power to let it go. I can't self-will my defects away. I've tried it. It works for about 2 weeks. Who's ever bought a new car and felt Felt great, right? Yeah, feel good. And then 2 weeks, you're driving, you're like, you're such a piece of crap there. Nobody likes you. Yeah, that's the stuff that I'm talking about. But this dishonesty thing, I can't become honest unless I'm willing to be honest and have God strive to help me to be honest. Now, it says, think honestly to try and see with clarity. Because I came into Alcoholics Anonymous, someone who is, let's just say, wasn't able to differentiate the truth from the false, like the doctor's opinion talks about it. I would read things like, you're in full flight from reality. I'm like, that ain't me. That ain't me. I'm not in Andy, what's up, buddy? And that ain't me. I'm not in full flight. I'm sober right now. I know where I'm at. I'm not on planet Pluto where Serene Francine is right now with that screensaver. I'm not there. But I'm not outright mental defective. Like I'm not schizophrenic, right? I don't have borderline personality disorder. What are you talking about? Right? Or am I constitutionally incapable of being honest? The Constitution means part of my basic makeup. I have the ability to be honest. Do I suffer from grave emotional mental disorder? That ain't me. That ain't me. Thank God I had good sponsorship. And they showed me love and tolerance a different way than what you think of love and tolerance is. And I had my sponsor say, well, Terry, when you were drinking, were you constitutionally incapable of being honest with yourself? And I was like, yeah. Yeah. Well, Terry, when you were drinking, did you suffer from grave emotional mental disorders? Yeah, I had like panic disorder, scratching my skin off. I couldn't sleep. I was insomniac, Or Terry, when you were drinking, were you in full flight for reality? Yeah, I was on planet Pluto. Yeah, when I was drinking, I was off somewhere where you can't expect, right? You know, developing and grasping a manner of living when I was drinking. No, I lived a life of rigorous dishonesty, and that was something that I had to look at and see that it was killing me in the fourth step. When I gave it all to God in that step 6 surrender, which is I think separates the men from the boys, and the women from the girls, it depends on the amount of pain that I'm associated with this particular defect. Am I willing to grow up? That's what step 6 is asking me. Am I willing to grow in the image and likeness of my creator? Am I tired of being a little toddler walking around lying to everybody? Yeah. Hell yeah. Now let's go back. Search diligently within yourself. Now think about it. The book talks about this word sought, seek, search all throughout the book. They're setting us up to be seekers. Right. Now, I think Sandy Beach, wonderful speaker, recommend just go on YouTube, just throw a dart at any one of his talks and you'll find a good talk. He talks about there's different levels of seeking. Anyone play hide and seek when they're a kid? Charlotte, you ever play hide and seek when you were a kid? Kathy, Stephanie, Kat, yeah, we'll go look for my friend. And like, where'd they go? Where'd they go? And you're like, all right, I give up. That's a level of seeking. Right? Anyone lose their puppy or lose their cat or a hamster or a pet snake? I got a friend I work with who has a pet python. I don't know why that came into my mind. But you lose your cat or your puppy, you walk around looking for them, posting up signs everywhere, hoping that one day a little puppy will come out of those woods, even a month later. You even remember a moment you had with that puppy, and you're like, oh man, should I put up another round of signs everywhere? That's a different level of seeking. I don't know about you. I mean, I was a 24/7 drunk. And I chased alcohol. I mean, I drank in the morning, afternoon, and at night, 3 times a day. And if I would wake up in the middle of the night, I would do some outside substances to help me go back to sleep. All right. I chased that. Imagine putting that towards a power greater than yourself. With this attitude, right, of searching diligently within yourself, that God could and would if he were sought, that God can and will if he were sought. And I try to think with clarity, try to see with clarity, try to ask God to help me be honest, right? And help sweep away all my prejudice, even the most recent ones towards those twofold cats, right? They're children of God. Why am I judging them? when they are children, and they are a reflection of God. I look at you, I look into you, I look at the eyes of God looking right back at me. Why am I judging you? If I could do that with that attitude, I can't fail. Like I said before, I could be in full fight from reality from this world. But with this attitude, I cannot fail. Man, I could even be outright mental defective, right? But with this attitude, I cannot fail. This is a promise, one of the most powerful promises in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. You could literally be constitutionally incapable of being honest with yourself. But if you search diligently within yourself and try to ask God to help you see with clarity and sweep away or lay aside any prejudice you have, with that attitude, you cannot fail. Imagine taking that momentum and going through the steps. You cannot fail. And it says it right here. You could join us on the broad highway. You might not even know it, but you're already on it. We're already on it as we speak. All of us at this very moment. I am not sober. I don't do the steps to stay sober. I do the steps because I'm sober, right? I do the steps to have this conscious contact or this awareness, this consciousness with this power that's within every man, woman, and child here. That little voice that tells you to stop fully at a stop sign instead of blowing right through it. You know what I'm talking about. How can I tell the difference between my voice and God's voice? Well, God's voice is like a whisper. Where mine's like, wah, 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 wah. This consciousness, think about it. We're all sober right now because of grace. At this very moment, we are never going to experience this moment ever again. At this very moment, you are sober. There's a power in and working in and through you at this moment as you are breathing in, out. That's keeping you sober and you don't even know it. Man, sometimes I think I'm so damn smart. I don't even realize I have spiritual experiences, you know? That's what happens. It's when I look back at my life that I've noticed that God has changed me inside and out. People tell me the first person that ever told me I had a spiritual noticed it. They said something like what Abby said or Bill said about Abby. There was something about your eyes. There's someone told me that. They're like, I don't know what the hell's that. My wife was just messing with me. She was like, "You look like Uncle Fester." But I was bad, guys. If anyone wants to see a picture of me prior to me getting sober, you wouldn't even recognize her. Thank God I'm not my. I don't. I'm not. I don't. I'm no longer my story anymore. I look like Uncle Fester. I was dying. I was dying. Bags on my under eyes. I had purple. You know, I couldn't stay stopped. Had open heart surgery. I was living in my car. I lost my nose because of the White Witch, or I just bought a lot of ski equipment. Yeah, all that stuff, and I'm sober. There's a power that loves you more than anything in the world and talks to us all the time. And it says your consciousness, your awareness, mind, body, and spirit, your awareness of your belief is sure to come to you. It will come to you through experiences that you don't realize later on. You'll look back at it. I think when I look back, I look back at it with my experience with my wife, and I'll shut up here. It was an evolution with my relationship with my wife. I got back with my wife. We were going through divorce. She was trying to divorce Uncle Fester, you know. You know, he was a bad man, Mama Jama, right? And I was a bad person, right? And then when I was in rehab, we started talking and we got back together after the fifth step. Found out I was the bad person, right? Damn it. Damn fourth step, right? And then, long story short, we have this wonderful life. We have a kid together, all that stuff. And I remember on Thanksgiving, in my third year of sobriety, she looked over to me, and I was looking at my family, my brother, my mom, and my brother are so damn selfish. And I was like, damn, man, this is where I get it from. Yeah. I was looking at my wife. I'm like, this is why I'm so selfish, right? Because of them. And my wife's like, Terry, They will never change, but you have. That's what she told me. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that I had this transformation. I didn't realize God was working in and through me during this time. I mean, the next time she sent me a text about 1 year after that saying, I just want to say you're the best dad and the best husband that anyone could ask for. I thought I was a shitty husband. I thought I was a shitty dad. Oh, I'm sorry for my language. Sorry. I mean, this is my consciousness of God working in and through my life is sure to come through me to work with the 12 steps and continuously working this program as a way of life. I don't worship the words. I don't worship the words. I am the words in the big book, right? My job is to be a conduit. My job is to wake up the dead, right? Right, Howard? There's some people that will never open the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous because, yeah, it looks like it's scary. They have prejudice or they have fixed ideas and opinions about it. So did I. Just lay it aside for now and just start reading it and ask yourself, what does these paragraphs mean to me? Right? I'm way out of time. I could next week I'll come back and talk about what I was talking about, but I would much rather listen to you guys than rather listen to my own voice. So that's all I got. Pew 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 pew.